Hello, hello, hello. Thursday, I think. We're still on Thursday. Right, yes. Chapter 10, The Creaker Trap. The plan was simple. Lucy needed to get down to the Woleb and find the grown-ups. And to do that, she needed to catch a creaker. It's going to be like fishing, Norman explained to her, which is one of his favourite things to do with his dad. And Ella Annoying was the bait. Not just Ella, in fact, but Ella wearing Lucy's dad's stinking work coat. It's perfect, said Norman. We'll make Ella wear your dad's pony jacket. The creatures will sniff it out, see a little girl wearing it in the middle of your bedroom, think that Ella is you, and then try to snatch you, and when they do, that's when we'll trap them. Now, it's not very nice to use little girls as live bait to catch monsters, but if you ever do have to, then it's always best to use an annoying little sprog just like Ella, in case they do actually get snatched. That way, at least you won't have to put up with them anymore. Don't worry, Norman added quickly, seeing Lucy was looking uncertain about this plan. I'm about 87% confident that we'll catch a creaker before it gets anywhere near Ella. Norman and Lucy agreed that this was an acceptable risk in such extreme circumstances, and so they went straight back to Lucy's house to lay creaker traps. To Lucy's surprise, the house wasn't quite as she left it. It's clean, she said, as she looked around the mess-free house. The night before, she'd been too scared to tidy up. She just leapt into bed, leaving the house in a right state. But today, it was spotless. How odd, Lucy said. The house was a complete pigsty yesterday. There was rubbish everywhere. I didn't clean it up, and no one has been in here except... She paused for a moment, her eyes opened wide. The creakers, they both shouted at the same time. Norman shook his head. Wait a minute. Sorry, Norman, isn't it? Wait a minute. Are you saying that the monsters under your bed, the ones that snatched away all the grown-ups and live in the creepy world beneath us, so I could have a quick spring clean before chasing you down that hole last night? Oh, looks like it, Lucy said, shrugging. I wonder why, Norman pondered, scratching his neatly combed hair thoughtfully. What are you thinking? Asked Lucy, intrigued by Norman's pensive silence. Well, any half-decent scout knows the best way to catch them is to work out what it wants. The creature's coming back for your dad's disgusting coat, right? Yeah. And you said you left the house a complete dump? Yep. And when you came back, all the mess was gone? Right. So maybe... Norman thought for a moment. Maybe that tells us something about these creatures. Maybe they love rubbish. What? Said Lucy, finding that a little weird. Think about it. You said yourself that the Woleb was all disgusting and stinky. Well, maybe they take all our dirty, mucky stuff down there, Norman said. Lucy opened her mouth to argue, but found that nothing came out. Sometimes that's how you realise that someone else is right. Let's make a creaker trap, Norman grinned. They spent the rest of the afternoon cobbling together the craftiest creaker trap they could think of. Lucy was pretty good at it, but Norman, with his scouting expertise, was amazing. He rolled out a large sheet of paper and drew a map of Lucy's room. This is only rough. If I had more time, I would have drawn a more accurate plan, Norman said apologetically. Norman, it looks amazing, said Lucy, staring at the incredibly detailed drawing spread out in front of her, on which Norman had written, Norman plus Lucy's creaker trap plan, in big letters. Here is a copy of that plan. Together, they set to work collecting the most horrid, stinking leftovers from the back of Lucy's dad's rubbish truck. Norman showed Lucy how to lay out a trail of the rotten stuff leading from the shadows of her bed to the centre of the room. At the end of the trail, they marked an E with a piece of chalk. That would be Ella's spot. And next to it, Norman wrote C for creaker, of which they hung Lucy's mum's extra large washing basket. Then I'll drop down and catch them, Norman explained as he rigged the basket to a complicated pulley system of skipping ropes which wound around the room and meshed inside Lucy's wardrobe. That's where you'll hide, ready to release the basket, he added. Where will you be? Lucy asked. I'll wait on the bed, ready to jump on the basket once it lands on them, Norman said, sounding surprisingly brave. What are we going who's saying that? What are we going to... I think it's Norman. What are we going to do once we've got them? I'm going to make Ella sing to them until they tell me where they're keeping the grown-ups, Lucy said. They both laughed as they admired their masterpiece. Somewhere in the laughter, Lucy realised she hadn't felt this happy since her dad left. Despite the grown-ups going missing, the sudden appearance of monsters in her rooms and a backwards world existing beneath her bed, Norman had managed to make her laugh. She didn't know how it happened, but at some point during the afternoon, she and Norman had become friends. Maybe it was because they were the only two people in Whiffington who knew about the creakers. Well, apart from Ella, who sort of knew. It was their secret, after all. Nothing makes stronger friends than a secret. The house was ready, the trap was set. Now they just needed to wait for the creakers to return. Why do I have to wear this rotten thing? Ella whined as they sat her down in the middle of Lucy's room, right on the E marked on the floor. It just makes ghost stories scary, you know, the bad smell and all that. Norman lied. Yeah, it adds the effect, Lucy added. Okay, said Ella uncertainly as the massive stinking coat swamped her shoulders, covering up her silk pyjamas. Norman and Lucy both had their dressing gowns on to hide their clothes underneath. Norman was wearing his full scout uniform and Lucy was in her favourite pair of dungarees, so while they looked ready for sleepover, they were actually fully prepared for adventure. Why is your room so messy? Asked Ella, looking around. Because Mum's not here to tidy it up, lied Lucy, feeling the butterflies fluttering in her tummy. She hated lying, even to Ella annoying. Oh, sorry, I'm not sure I showed you that picture. So where are they? Ella said, holding out her hands expectantly. Here you go, a full packet of marshmallows, as requested, Lucy said, plonking the sweets into Ella's open hand. Oh, goody, goody, nom nom, said Ella, ripping open the packet, at once beginning to munch on them, picking out her favourite pink ones. They switched off Lucy's bedroom light, huddled around Norman's torchlight, and spent the rest of the night sharing spooky stories like The Haunted Treehouse, Night of the Living Dead Goldfish, and Norman's personal favourite, The Campsite Critters of Cold Creek. These stories weren't scary at all, Ella whined. You two are rubbish. I thought we were going to tell really scary ones. You two are big scaredy cats. All of a sudden, a bell chimed from the church across the other side of Wivington town, echoing through the darkness of the night outside Lucy's window. Oh, listen, that is midnight, Ella said, looking a little excited. That's right, Ella, and do you know what happens at midnight? Asked Lucy. Norman's head turned back into a pumpkin, Ella giggled. No, it's when the creakers come out, Lucy said. Ella felt silent and stopped chewing her mouth full of marshmallows. The what? Creakers. You have heard of creakers, haven't you? Oh, it's Norman. Creakers. You have heard of creakers, haven't you? Said Norman. Yeah, oh, creakers, of course. Sure, I know about all these creakers. I probably know more than both of you, actually, Ella replied. Lucy could tell she was fibbing. But maybe you could just remind me. Creakers are things that hide under your bed, said Lucy. Creakers are the things that put nasty dreams inside your head, added Norman. Well, I'm not scared of those silly things. It's just a story, lied Ella. That's what most children think, Ella, but there's only one way to be sure a creaker doesn't get in the... Oh, it's Norman again, sorry. That's what most children think, Ella, but there's only one way to be sure a creature doesn't get you in the night, Norman said, making his voice as spooky as he could, which wasn't very. What's that? Asked Ella. To stay up all night, Norman said. And not go to bed, added Lucy. Ella started to look a little uneasy, like she wanted to go back to the not-so-scary stories. Right, I'm off to sleep, said Norman chirpily, switching off his torch and climbing to Lucy's bed. Nighty-night. Oh, wait, you're actually going to bed? What if a creaky comes? Whined Ella. It's just a story, like you said, said Norman, yawning, rolling over, pulling the covers over his head. You know, I'm feeling sleepy too, said Lucy, climbing into the wardrobe which had lined the duvet and pillow. She closed the door until she could just see Ella through a small crack. You both bonkers, Ella cried. If those creaky things creak out, both fast asleep, we'll both be goners. Got to stay up all night. She huddled on the floor, keeping a careful eye on the shadows underneath the bed, right on the spot, marked with an E. Okay, we'll take it in turns. You take first watch, Ella, Lucy said, smiling to herself as she settled into her little snug inside the wardrobe. Even though she couldn't see him, she knew Norman was smiling too. The plan was working, for now. Okay, and tomorrow, Friday, hopefully we'll be able to do Chapter 11, Catching Creakers. There we go. Right, hope everyone is keeping safe and well. We shall see you when we see you. Take care.